Crazy rivalry week full of upsets and losses, and it shakes things up for the top 10 after week 14. So let's take a look at it. Got Oregon at number one. They're still there. They've been there pretty much all season after that win over Ohio State. The only team that is undefeated in P4, and they have looked the part. And they had a really emphatic win over their rival Washington. They look like the super team this year. Penn State coming off an absolute just dog walking over Maryland, and they're also the benefactor of, we'll see, talk about this later as we get to the rankings, but Ohio State losing to Michigan. They're now in the Big Ten title game. That will be an awesome game against Oregon. They're at the number 2 spot. Texas, while they didn't look great offensively, they did come up with a big win in Kyle Field on the road, and they held them to 7 points, and that was off of a fumble. So they're number 3 right now. Number 4, Notre Dame. They've been looking fantastic since their awful loss to NIU. Offensively, they're looking really good. Defensively, I think there's some room to improve. But with teams, every team in here has flaws. I think Notre Dame is really good in position to do well in the college football playoff. Number 5, SMU. I think people will start getting pushback here, but this is a team that just continues to win. And from what we have learned from this season, that's the hardest thing to do. Regardless of what conference you're in, your strength of schedule, all of that. Winning is extremely hard, and SMU has been doing that in big ways. So I got them in number 5. Georgia, man, almost tripped up against Georgia Tech. That was an insane game, 8 overtimes. They were able to pull it out. So I got them at number 6. Ohio State drops to 7 after their loss to Michigan. We'll talk about this later in the week, but they have a Ryan Day problem here. He has a mental block over Michigan, and he cannot get that win. And this is a year that you needed to do that. At home, 20-point favorites. They are now out of the Big Ten title game. That was just a huge loss for that program and for Ryan Day. Number 8, Indiana. Again, they just continue to win. They look good again this weekend, 66-0 over Purdue. So they're a solid team. They're going to be firmly in the playoff, I believe, as well. So Indiana, number 8. Tennessee, oh, man, they came back at a 14-0 quick. That game was looking like it was going to go sideways, and then they looked good in the second half. Nico still wasn't hitting everything in the first half, but he looked much better in the second half. So if they can get that offense rolling, I think they can be dangerous in the playoff. Number 10, Arizona State. Again, similar to what I was saying for SMU, for Indiana, it is just hard to win, and these guys keep doing that. So they had a big win this weekend. Now they're going to be playing in the Big 12 title game, which they're currently favored in. So I got them as my 10th best team in the country. Follow Big Body Ball CFB on all socials.